Hello, hello! I'm the official name raider. My job is to look through the first page of Google, review the nicknames provided by the internet, and then give my recommendations at the end. Today we're looking at the third in a row of fire and fighting starter Pokemon. Tepig, Pignite, and Emboar. And although they did 3 firefightings, at least they made all 3 different. Of the 3, Blaziken's still my favorite, but I mean at least 3 are all different styles. We're starting off strong because Emboar is stupid and I love it. So I'm not into Street Fighter, but I recognize the name M. Bison, and turning that into a pig joke, I'm fine with. It also works with the fighting type. I don't know if M. Bison has any fire things? Pretty sure he wears red, doesn't he? Regardless, I like it. Alright, so we got 3 in a row that are worth acknowledging. Kevin Bacon. I mean, I've seen Bacon, and I'm pretty sure we've made other pig jokes before. I think even the Grumpig one, I mentioned something about Bacon, and then I changed mine to Whizpig, because Whizpig was better. I don't know why it needs Kevin. It really doesn't, unless you want to do the actor. Like, that's fine, but Bacon on its own is also fine. And then, next up, Swine Flu, which I think has aged like milk, and the fact that he's even talking about it in 2016 is really weird. To me, I feel like if you wanted to make that joke, Pile of Swine is the better choice, and even then, that's still like a 2 out of 10 nickname. And then Pork Chop, which lends itself to the joke as well, because it's a fighting type pig, so I think Toy Story made that joke, so it's worth it if you care. So, worth talking about is not this variation, but the idea of Ganondorf, I fully support as well. Ganon Pork, it's not for me. But I do have written down Ganondorf and then Ganon, and then as the alternative, for those of you who actually don't know this, Dragmire, because that's Ganondorf's last name, Ganondorf Dragmire. So I probably saw this ages and ages ago from somebody else, because I don't know if I would have thought of that. I feel like Ganondorf is pretty simple enough to think of on your own, but Dragmire to me is like, no, that's definitely something I had to have picked up from someone else, because I know my brain, and that's... yeah. But the idea of Ganon, Ganondorf, and Dragmire, I'm fine with all 3. He typically takes on that pig-like appearance in things like Link to the Past, Twilight Princess, I guess a little bit of Breath of the Wild, so yeah, I'm all for it. Now, I like where your mind is at with Black Sabbath. I support that. I'm all for band-based nicknames. I think if you can turn it into an actual song name, you've taken it a step further and achieved something way more difficult. The fact that you easily could have just called it War Pig or War Pigs and didn't and chose Sabbath over it confuses me a little bit, because I feel like between the two, War Pigs is going to be way more recognizable as, oh, Black Sabbath, opposed to just Sabbath, which that's the Lord's Day. The Sabbath day. So that might get lost in translation. I also did a small check because I could have swore I remember something about Emboar being based off a Chinese general, but it doesn't say anything about military. Yes, Emboar is Chinese, weird sense to say, but I don't see anything about military background in its influence. It just cites the other pieces of fiction that they took inspiration from, so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I figured that could be it. Also on the subject, because I just want to emphasize this, animations are important, right? And I really like Emboar's animation sprite in Gen 5, where he's like crushing his fist together like he's ready to beat your ass. I love the shit out of that, and I think it's so good, and I think it's so fucking pathetic that Gen 6 onwards they decided to literally step down to making him do fucking nothing, because he looked so intimidating in Gen 5, and now he looks like a piece of shit. Please bring back good animations. Baconator is also another, like some of these are in the comment suggestions as well, we won't go back over them. But Baconator is another reference bacon food, and I'm fine with that too. That's going to stand on its own if you want to mix it up. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. I like Baconators, those are pretty good. I'm pretty sure we've seen Fahrenheit before as generic fire type nicknames. I feel like we might have seen something for ice types, I don't know, but I feel like it's more associated with fires. If you want to use that, you could throw it onto any fire type you want, it'll work. Barbecue, I'll give you points for trying, although if I'm honest I don't like it as much as Emboar. Man Bear Pig, I have this written down because I saw it before and I just laughed because I'm an idiot. It's weird how, you know, certain jokes I feel age poorly, and then some don't. And Man Bear Pig is kind of one of those that I feel, I mean, although it's not like hilarious to quote it on its own, it's still a joke that you could like say, and people are gonna get it and be like, ah, I remember that, and like think fondly of it. Probably because it doesn't beat you over the head consistently every day for months and months, so maybe that's why. But I'm fine with Man Bear Pig. It's stupid, but it got a smile out of me.
I'm here to educate you about the single biggest threat to our planet. You see, there is something out there which threatens our very existence and may be the end to the human race as we know it. I'm talking, of course, about Man Bear Pig.
Man Bear Pig?
It is a creature which roams the earth alone. It is half man, half bear, and half pig. Some people say that Man Bear Pig isn't real. Well, I'm here to tell you now, Man Bear Pig is very real, and he most certainly exists. I'm cereal. Man Bear Pig doesn't care who you are or what you've done. Man Bear Pig simply wants to get you. I'm super cereal.
I don't know if I'm allowed to play that, but I just wanted to give props also for the quote, for the line for line quote in the description as well. I'm gonna acknowledge this one, but also disagree with it a little bit. I like the idea of, because you know, if we want to take other fictional or other things in like astronomy and apply those as nicknames, it's only fair to do the same thing for fiction as well. I don't think it resembles an Ewok at all, but the idea of naming it after a planet or whatever from Star Wars, I think is fine. I don't remember the name of the planet that Anakin and Obi-Wan fought on, which was a great scene at the end of the third movie, but that would be my choice if the name isn't too fucking stupid. But just a thought. Only even stopping to talk about this because I know if I don't, somebody else will. If you care about That'll Do Pig, that's fine. I personally don't think it's funny or entertaining in the slightest, but if I don't say something, somebody else will. We got another 2-for-1 here. Well, not technically, because it's just one comment, but it's 2 different nicknames. Neither of these nicknames are real names in the real world, therefore no gender matters at all. And also, all starter Pokemon are 87% chance male, 12% female. So if you want this specific Peppa Pig for a female thing, you're going to be 1 in 8 chance. I probably should have seen Peppa Pig coming, but I didn't. I get it, that's fine, whatever. Pumbaa, there's another one, I get it, that's fine, whatever. But those aren't real names, so you could put it on to whoever the fuck you want if you want, but I also know some people are going to be like, ah, but the character's this. I don't fully agree with this one, but it's worth talking about it for at least being different. It's the brush god from Okami that teaches you Cherry Bomb. The only resemblance is that it's a pig. That's where it begins and ends. That's fine. It's just, it's different. Like, we see Amaterasu all the time, but I mean, theoretically, if you wanted to, you could probably build an entire team just based off of the Okami brush deities, and I think that'd be a cool concept. So, if you wanted to, there's a name for you that you could put onto any pig Pokemon because it begins and ends at being a pig and nothing else. You know, I've actually started reading the descriptions to these just to see what dumb shit he has. Most of the time I just look at the names and just ignore the rest. And I'm actually not sure which is worse, the nicknames or the descriptions, because right now I'm thinking it's actually just the descriptions. So for starters, Wildfire, generic fire type nickname. We've seen this thousands of times before. He's acting like he's super smart and he came up and he sat down and he thought about it and then said we, like there's a fucking collection of idiots all in the same room, all collectively thinking of this shit. Wildfire's not that hard of a name to come up with. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Firefighter, there's another one. References the typing, nothing else extra to say about it. I don't remember if we saw it for Blaziken or Chimchar, but if that's your dig, cool. But I think, honestly, people are probably going to have firefighting PTSD for the rest of their lives, to where even if it's not a starter, they'll probably still get terrified and just have flashbacks. Blazebor's bad and Swinefire's bad, but I'm not gonna lie, for a brief second I thought he was gonna say swine flu, so I was a little bit relieved. But what's interesting is that in the third one, he talks about I. He doesn't talk about we. So that means that everybody else in his collective group disagreed with him, but he's like, fuck you, I'm putting these names down, I believe in them. I don't Overwatch, but if this strikes your fancy, here's another idea for you. Alright, we need to talk for a minute. Do you know how fucking confused someone is going to be if you send out this giant flaming Chinese pig and that motherfucker is named Bumblebee? Because that is the weirdest fucking thing. The only thing I can possibly think of is like it's trying to reference Transformers. But why in the fuck? Anyway, that's the bottom. We've looked through everything. We do have the spreadsheet to go over real quick, but I gotta scroll up to prove that I did it all. Spreadsheet says Dr. Porkchop? I thought his name was just Porkchop. Whatever. Hamlet, I saw that before. I chose not to talk about it because firstly they didn't talk about Shakespeare. They were talking about some fucking village and I was just like, I'm done reading this. And then Ham was the name of the idiot from Toy Story. And then Slow Roast, which I mean, it's not the worst, but it's certainly shit not the best either. Comment suggestions. Unfortunately, all of Chaotic suggestions had the thunder taken right out of his sails from the beginning because we saw them all on the first page already. But he did come up with it, probably just unintentionally predicting how the episode was going to come out. This I like. I actually do think that this, as like, you know, he's doing his weapon bomb thematic or whatever, I think it's good because Fat Man as a name can like firstly play off what he wants it to do, and then secondly also just kind of Emboar's appearance. Like there's not too much to say about it, but I think it fits and I think it actually works really well for what he wants. So I like it. Highlighting things and things that I have written down. Baconator, we saw that. I have a shiny Tepig that was well, it's Emboar now. Wonder traded to me back in the days of Omega, and it was just called Crispy. And you know, Game Freak hates you, so if you get somebody else's Pokemon, you just have to stick with whatever name they got. Thanks to Pokemon Go, now I've got like 4 other shiny Tepigs that I can maybe fix if they ever fucking let me put it on a goddamn game! But, all things considered, Crispy's not the worst name. Like, it could be better, but it also could have been much, much worse. The Ganondorf, Drachmar stuff, Porkchop, one that, Manbear Pig, there's another one. And then one that was not mentioned. Hold on. I'm jumping ahead. Emboarson. And then one that was not mentioned, but I thought of this, I'm pretty sure myself. Pork rinds from Cuphead. Because there's another pig joke for you, and yeah. So if that strikes your fancy, I think Emboar has a lot of choices and a lot of potential. I actually had to start a second line just because I didn't feel like maximizing the fucking window. But there's a lot of easy pig jokes. And yeah, and then another one that I saw but I didn't acknowledge because I thought it was shit was Wilbur from Charlotte's Web, and that's just because I just hate the name Wilbur. Will people get it? I'm sure, but like if you could choose to name anything that, why would you put them through that agony? It's just rude. Anyway, any additional ideas, suggestions, nicknames that you have or have used, feel free to put in the comments below. Give a thumbs up to the ones that you think are good. And then my Samrot page is blank. So we will see how good it turns out, because I hope it turns out good, because I don't have anything. I don't actually have a personal choice, mostly just because the one that I have was already named for me. So I just never bothered looking this up before or thinking or anything of that. But of these, I think I might probably just go with the Ganon stuff, honestly. Just out of all of them, it's the one I like the best. But they're all pretty strong nicknames. Okay, bye. No more talk.